Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of Android SQLite tutorial. Okay, in this series we are moving to our next section, how to delete a user from an Android database table. So here is the delete. Here is the login activity. On the login activity, okay, here I declare on the main activity, I declare a variable called status with the value 0. If it is a simple login, the value of status is 1, and if it is an update operation, I put the value of status is 2, and if it is a delete operation, I put the value of status is 3, and I pass the value of the variable status to the login activity using the bundle object. So here on the login activity, we have to check what is the status of the variable. So if the status is 3, we have to perform a delete operation. So here I just start the activity that perform the delete operation using the indent. So here we have to validate the user as we done earlier on the login. So if the login is success, we have moved to the delete activity. So we need all these code segments that we are already used in the login function on the login purpose. So I just copy all that code segment and paste the same code segment here. This is the same code that we used previously. First we have to get the username and password, and we have to get back the result from the database using the cursor object, and we can iterate the cursor object here. And if the login is success, and if it is failed, we have to show some messages. And if the login is success, we have to move it to the delete activity to delete the user. So if the login status is success, we have to move it to the next activity, that is the delete activity. So I put the indent object and the start activity statement here. So we have to pass the name of the user to the next activity. So we got the name of the user from the variable name. So here I have to pass the name of the user to the next activity, that means the delete activity. So I create an object of bundle to pass the data to the next activity. So just create an object of bundle class here. Okay, now I put the value, that means the username, name of the user, into this bundle object using the method putString. First provide a key, it is a username, and now pass the value, it is the username. So pass the variable name that contain the name of the user, okay, which is required to delete the particular user from the database. So I pass the name of the user to the next activity. So now I am going to attach this bundle into the indent object. So I dot put extras and pass that bundle object to the indent object. Okay, now start the activity using start activity method. Now go to the delete activity. So here we have to, here is the delete activity layout. You have to type your password again to delete your account from the database. So here is the delete activity class file. First we have to get back the username from the bundle object. So create an object of bundle here. For getting the username, I create a string called the username. Okay, now we have to get back the bundle object from the indent filter object. So username equal to that is not, we have to get back the bundle object. So bn equal to get intent. First we have to get the intent, and now we have to get the bundle. So get extras get indent.getExtra. So we got the bundle object on the variable called bn. Now we have to get back the username from the bundle. So username equal to bn.getString and pass the key. Here the key is username, that is the key, user underscore name, that is the key. Okay, now go to the delete layout. Here is the ID for the edit text is del pass and the ID for the button is b delete. So now we have to create objects for edit text and button here. So first I create object for button, I name it as del. Now we need object of edit text. So edit text, I name it as pass. We need to import package for button. Just import package for button. Okay, now we have to initialize these two objects. First I initialize that button object del equal to find view by id r.id dot that button is del button b delete, that is the ID for the button. We need to cast it into button. Okay, now we have to initialize the edit text object. So pass equal to find view by id r.id dot ID for that edit text is user pass, sorry, del pass, that is the ID for the edit text. We need a casting here. We have to check it again. Yeah, ID for the edit text is del pass and that for button is b delete. Okay, we done it correctly. Okay, now we have to create action listener for that button. So del dot set on click listener, new view dot on click listener. We have to import some packages here for on click listener. Need a semicolon here. Okay, now here we are going to delete the user. So for that, first we have to get the password entered by the user on the password field. For that I create a string pass. This is for getting the password entered by the user. So pass equal to that edit text object name is pass dot get text dot to string, just get the password back. Okay, now we got the password entered by the user on the variable called the pass. Now we have to create a method to retrieve the password for a single user. So here I am going to create a method on the database operation class called public cursor, which will return cursor, get user pass. This method for getting the password of a single user. So here we pass two arguments, a database operation object and the username. So database operation class object and the username. Here I pass the argument as a user. So from this method we can get back the password of the user from the database. So here you can learn how to get particular column value from a database. So first we have to get the object of SQLite database. So SQLite database SQ equal to dop dot get readable database. We just read the data, so just use the method called a readable database. First we have to create the selection criteria or where clause. So here I am going to create the selection criteria on this string variable string selection equal to, and here is the we select the variable row based on the username. So table info dot username, like username, put the plus operator, username like, now put a question mark. So this is the where clause, username like, this is the where clause or the selection. Okay, now we have to specify the columns that we want. We just want the username, we just want the user password. So string columns equal to table info dot, we only need the user pass, so table info dot user pass. Okay, now we have to specify the arguments. Here the arguments, only one argument is here, that is the user. So string args, only one argument is here, it is the user. So pass that variable name user. Okay, now you can retrieve the data using the SQLite database object. So here the return type is cursor, so create an object of cursors here equal to sq.query. Use the method query. First you have to pass the table name. Here the table name is get from the class table info dot table name. So first we have to get the table name. Now we have to pass the columns. So I just use that string arrays columns, and now we have to specify the string that contain the selection criteria. So here it is selection. So now we have to pass the arguments for that selection. Here the argument is user, which is on the variable string array called args. Now here we are not using any group by clause, so just pass null value for it. And here we are not using any having clause, so pass a null value for that. Here we are not using any ordered by clause, so again pass a null value for that. Okay, put a semicolon here. Now we get the user password of a particular user. Using this criteria, we just create. Now we have to return the cursor. Return cursor. Okay. This is how we using. First we have to create an object of selection. We have to specify a selection criteria. Now we specify the columns. Now we specify the arguments, and we get the result in cursor object and return by the cursor object. Okay, now go to the delete activity class. Here we got the password on the variable called pass. So here we need an object of database operation class, so DOP. I create an object of database operation class. Also we need an object of context class also, so create an object of context class CTX. You need to import the package for the context class. Okay, now you can get the we have to initialize the context object using this pointer. Just initialize the context object. Now we have to get the password of that particular user from the database, and we have to authenticate it. So I call that method using the database operations object DOP equal to, first we have to initialize that object DOP equal to new database operation and pass the context class object ctx. Okay, now create an object of cursor, because the we got the result in a cursor. So create an object of cursor cr equal to, and call that method called get user pass, and we have to pass the database operations object and the username. Here we got the username from the variable. Here we got the username from the variable called username. So pass that value to that function. So here is the second argument, which is the username of the user. Okay, now we have to get the value of the column from the cursor object. So first we have to move it to the first row on the cursor, so move it to first, cr.move it to first. Now we have to iterate the cursor to get the password from it. So create a do while loop here. If the same user is available, if the user with the more than same username is available, we got multiple columns. So I again iterate it with a do while loop. So move it to next. If there is only one user is present, there is only one row present. If there is more than one user with the same column name available, we got multiple rows. So I use the, so here I create a boolean variable to check the login status. So create a boolean variable here, boolean, I name it as login status, and initialize it with the value false. Initially it is false. So now here we are going to done the authentication of the user. So use an if loop. If the value of the username if the value of the password entered by the user is, so we got the password entered by the user on this variable called pass, so use that. Okay, that is the correct variable name is pass, pass. So use that variable name pass dot equals, and check it with the first row on the cursor, cr.get string, on 0th index, get string on 0th index. Okay, that means if it is equal, that means the login is success, it's a valid user. So I change the value of the login status into true, true one. And after the while loop we can check whether it's a valid user. So again start an if loop. If the login status is true one, so if login status, otherwise on the else part he is an invalid user, just show a message to the invalid user using the toast.make test. First pass the context. I use the base context here, just pass the base context and show a message invalid user, and specify duration invalid user, and try later. Here specify the duration for the toast dot length long, specify the duration. Now make the toast visible using show method. Okay, if it will return false, if the login status is true one, you can delete the user from here, delete user here. So now we have to create another user defined method on the database operation class. Now we have to create a separate user defined method to delete a particular user from the database. So here I am going to create that method. So public void, it will return nothing, so use the return type void, public void delete user. So the purpose of this method is to remove a user from the database. So here we accept three arguments. First is the database operations object, second one is the username, and third one is the user password. So first is the username, second argument is the username, and third argument is the user pass. I name it as pass. So first here we have to specify the selection criteria to delete a user. So I create a string selection. So we can I am going to specify the where clause. So table info dot, first specify the username, like plus, so use the plus operator, separation operator, and specify the like operator, like keyword, and specify a question mark here, and put the operator and. Here we are going to delete a user based on username and password, so combine two where clause, combine using AND operator, and now specify the second column name, table info dot password, user password, so use the available user pass, table info dot user pass, table info dot user pass, and again use the plus operator and specify the like command, like keyword, like, put a space and put a space and insert the question mark. So here on the selection criteria we delete the user based on username and password, so table info username like and table info username pass. If the both are same, we need username and password to delete a user, so we use the selection criteria like this. Now we have to specify the columns as you want. We have to specify the columns needed on this string array. So here we need only the user pass, so specify the table info dot user pass. That is the only needed column. Now we have to specify the arguments. Specify the arguments in correct order, that is used based on the selection criteria. Here we specify the username, so first you have to specify the username as argument, second one is the password. Okay. Now we need an object of SQLite database class to perform the deletion operation. So SQLite database SQ equal to, and use the database operation object dop dot. Here we are going to delete it, so use the method get writable database. Now we can call the method called sq.delete. You have to pass three arguments, table name and selection criteria and arguments. So there is no need to specify the columns here. That is because we are not selecting, we are going to delete it, because so here there is no need of these columns. So first you have to pass the table name, so table info dot table name. Now second, specify the selection criteria. So we got the selection criteria from this string called the selection. Now you have to pass the arguments for the selection criteria. Here there are two arguments, user and pass. So specify that string arguments. Okay, so now we successfully complete the coding to delete a particular user. So now we have to call that method. So here I use that object of that database operation class dop.delete user. First you have to pass the database operation class object. Now you have to pass the username of the user. So here we got the username from the variable called username. So we have to pass that value, and we got the password from the variable pass. So first specify the username, and now specify the password for the user. It is available on the variable called the pass. Password is available on variable named pass. Okay, when you call this method, that particular user will be deleted from the database. Now we have to show a message for the delete confirmation. Deletion of the user is success. User removed successfully, or user removed successfully. User removed successfully. Specify duration for the toast. Specify a duration for the toast. Toast dot make it as long. Now make the toast visible using show method. Make the toast visible. And now I have to finish this. Activity using the lifecycle method finish. Also on the else part also I'm going to finish that. I have to finish that activity using finish method. Okay, now we successfully completed all the codings needed for delete a user. Now we can check the project. So I'm going to run as Android application. So first here I'm going to register a new user. I'm going to register a new user with the name PRABEESH, and enter a password called the pass, PASS, that is the password, and confirm that password, PASS, and click register. Now registration is success. This is due to accidental click. Now again I open that application again. Now I'm going to register another user, so click the register button again. And here I specify the username. I name it as a Rupesh. Specify the password PASSWORD, and confirm the password PASSWORD, and register. Now registration success. Now I successfully registered 2 users. Now I am going to log in a user. I log in a user called Rupesh, RUPESH, and specify his password. His password is password PASSWORD, and click login. Now wait. Okay, now the login is success. That means our database working correctly. Now I'm going to delete a user. So here I'm going to delete a user called Rupesh. So type his username and type his password. His password is password, and click login. Now the login is success. Here he has to enter his password again to delete his account. First I put a wrong password. So invalid user. Exit that activity again and try to delete that user. So again put the username Rupesh and specify his password. His password is password PASSWORD. Now click login. Now he successfully logged in his account. Now he has to type his password again to delete. So his password is PASSWORD. Now click delete account. So user removed successfully. Now I try to log in the same user again. So type user PRABEESH. Now he is not available on the database, so his login must be failed. So click login. Now wait. Now login failed. That means now the user is removed from the database. Now I try to log in the other user called PRABEESH, and specify his password PASS, that is his password, and click login. Okay, login success. This is due to invalid click. Sorry, accidental click. I try to log in the same user again. I think this is due to invalid click. So PRABEESH and his password is pass. Click login. Okay, now it's working fine. Okay guys, this is how we delete a particular user from the database. Thank you for watching. See you in the next part.